Chair of the full committee, Dr. Foxx, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to our witnesses for being here today. Chief Bradley, 23 of my House Republican colleagues and I sent a letter to DOL urging withdrawal of OSHA's emergency response proposed rule. The letter points out that the proposed rule would exacerbate existing retention and recruitment challenges for qualified emergency responders, especially volunteers. What are some of the reasons that volunteer fire departments are struggling to recruit volunteer firefighters, and how will the proposed emergency response standard impact volunteer firefighter shortages?
Thank you, Chairwoman Foxx, and thank you and your colleagues for that letter and bringing this issue forward. Retention and recruitment has been an issue in the volunteer fire service for several years, and there are a lot of reasons. One being people work outside their community now. People are leaving rural communities for jobs in suburban areas. But the biggest reason we hear in the volunteer fire service is the commitment, the time that an individual has to put in. What would exacerbate that situation with this rule is the added time that an individual would have to seek just for education. I was a volunteer fire chief in your state in Mebane for 7 years, and I cannot imagine accepting the job of a volunteer fire chief with the administrative responsibilities that are going to come with this rule, this proposed rule.
Thank you so much, Chief. Ms. Watson, the final walk-around rule dramatically lowers the qualification standards for individuals who are allowed to participate in an OSHA job site inspection as a third-party representative. These third-party representatives could be someone such as a union organizer or community activist without safety experience. OSHA claims this rule will somehow improve worker safety and health. Could you discuss whether the walk-around rule will improve worker safety and health?
Thank you, Chairwoman. No, I don't believe that by relaxing the standards of who can accompany the compliance safety and health officer will actually achieve OSHA's goal. If their goal is to improve the inspection process and the representative of the workers, then they should work within the confines of what they already have. By allowing just anyone to come on the job site, that person might not be familiar with the job site, they might not be familiar with the employees and what the requirements would be. I don't think it lends anything to the process of improving worker safety, certainly, and improving worker representation. There's other ways around that.
Yeah, it's just common sense. I've gone to a lot of job sites, a lot of companies, and done walk-arounds, and you have to be so careful what you do, and the more people you have, the more dangerous it is. There's no question about it. Mr. Gerstenberger, you mentioned in your written testimony that arborists rely on several methods for accessing a tree for trimming or removal, including using cranes. Can you explain how OSHA's current enforcement approach might deter companies from using cranes, even when it's determined to be the safest method for accessing a tree?
Thank you, Dr. Foxx. I will have to start with the underlying standard governing this situation. 1910-180 has a clause in it that says workers shall not be hoisted or swung using a crane. Currently, OSHA allows, through its enforcement memoranda, the employer to mount an affirmative defense to using a crane to hoist a worker in a tree when they determine it's the safest or only feasible way to access that tree and perform the work. However, mounting an affirmative defense means that the employer in question must first be cited. So that in and of itself is an onerous and laborious and time-consuming process. I don't know an employer in my association who would shy away from using a crane to put a worker into a tree, because it has proven since 1968 to be a very safe practice. And considering the alternatives of climbing dead trees, decayed trees, or having to ascend over multiple branches to access the top of a tree, or place an aerial lift or compact lift directly under a tree to access a very tall tree, the idea of a rated anchor on a crane that's capable of supporting tons seems very, very desirable. And so my members regularly adopt that practice.
Again, it makes sense. It's just common sense. And as someone who's had a lot of tree work, on tall trees done in our yard. And we just look around here and see how they use cranes for many different things. It just makes sense to be able to do that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to our witnesses again. I yield back.